What the hell is Saw Sports or whatever that last call was talking about? What the hell is that?
Guys are from Free Love, man.
What is up, guys? So, the Dynamo officially have announced their new manager, and ironically enough, it was my number one pick when I made my video for the top 5 manager options that I thought that would be perfect for the Houston Dynamo, and it's none other than Ramos. I'm really excited about this one, but a little thing to add on about this. Now, this is to build a better team in the long term, so this is going to take a lot of time and patience. This is all about developing the youth academy, building up young talent. I'm sure there's going to be a time where we'll start bringing in some better seasoned players, and even if anything, maybe with his philosophy can also be applied right away. But ideally, this is for the long term. So for those that are hoping that the Dynamo are going to be instantly champions for next season, it could happen. I mean, Wilmer Cabrera, under his first year, obviously they made it to the Western Conference Finals. So it's not necessarily completely far-fetched. I think Ramos is a great manager. And ideally for what I want, which is to develop this team, build them up, create a solid foundation to make them a very more competitive team for years to come. So I like this addition, and we'll talk about a little bit more about Ramos. So Ramos is originally from Uruguay, but got his citizenship through the U.S. He played majority of his life as a midfielder, starting off in North Carolina State University, which is where he played first. And then in his pro career, he ended up playing from 1988 to 2002. He had a total of 271 appearances and scored 22 goals. Some of the teams that you can highlight from his career was Real Betis from Spain, Tigres from Mexico, and in the MLS with the Metro Stars, who are now with the New York Red Bulls. Also to highlight, he was the first player to sign in the MLS. For those of you who aren't sure, the MLS is actually a very young league. It started in 1996, so he was one of the first players to sign with the MLS. So that's a really big thing to mention about him. So he's very historical. Now, with the U.S. national team, like I said, he is from Uruguay, but gained citizenship through the U.S. and ended up playing with the U.S. men's national team. His playing career was from 1988 all the way to 2000. He had a total of 81 appearances and scored 8 goals. He was appeared in 3 World Cups and is also in the National Soccer Hall of Fame in 2005. So as a player, he's definitely had a lot of experience and knows the game very well, and was able to gain a lot of respect from his playing career in the Hall of Fame. Now, as a manager, he's been a manager since 2009 till now. He was an assistant with the U.S. under-20 team from 2009 to 2011, then took over as the U20 U.S. head coach from then till 2019, obviously till now, and was also an assistant with the U.S. men's national team from 2014 to 2016. So he was part of Jurgen Klinsmann's U.S. staff during the 2014 World Cup, which was not necessarily a bad year for the U.S. men's national team. I mean, the guy's got a lot of experience, has worked with many managers. Obviously, Jurgen Klinsmann, someone very, personally to me, to highlight. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings with Jurgen Klinsmann, but I think Ramos, is the right guy. He plays with youth. He understands how to develop these guys. And I mean, the U20 team has done really well in recent competitions and has gone pretty far in a lot of the World Cups. So I think that Ramos is definitely the guy to take the Dynamo to that next level and hopefully develop a youth academy system and use these young players and develop them and make them good quality players for the MLS and, for the sake of their national teams, ideally the U.S. men's national team as well. So to highlight, I think obviously you guys know I'm happy with this decision because this was my number one choice overall as a manager option. I thought that this guy had what exactly I wanted, which is building this team and make them sturdy for the future. I think a lot of teams that are really successful have had very good youth academy systems. Obviously, when you think of successful youth academies and successful clubs, you think of Ajax, you think of Barcelona. So I definitely not saying that we're going to be up there with them one day, but I definitely think that building up through the youth academy is a surefire way to find solid talent and build them up, and then you can either sell them for some profits or keep the guys that you want. But I think Tab Ramos, with his experience of using youth talent, this is the right way to go. Now, just because he has experience of youth talent doesn't necessarily mean that he's only just going to use young players. Obviously, he's going to use the opportunity of getting players also with experience. He is going to have some players with experience. The Dynamo did just re-sign Boniek Garcia to a 1-year extension, so I definitely think that was a smart move for them. They got themselves a captain for the season, but I think this was the right decision for the Dynamo. Like I said, this is something that you're going to look for the long haul, so you got to stay with him through the good and through the bad. So, because I think that in the end, I think after all this is said and done, I think that the Dynamo will be in the right place. Now, there is the possibility that the U.S. men's national team will try to take him and get him to be the U.S. men's national coach if Greg Berhalter continues to be going at the way he's going with the U.S. men's national team. But, you know, that's up in the air because there's a lot of other options as far as the U.S. men's national team. And maybe Tab Ramos, after being snubbed for so many times now for the U.S. men's coach position, that he just wants to focus on building up his own club and building his own culture and maybe set up his own dynasty to show that, you know, what the U.S. men's national team really missed out on for him. So I'm really happy about Tab Ramos, and I can't wait to see what this Dynamo organization does. Now, there's other question marks behind this, obviously. We got to see what they do this offseason. I think Matt Jordan definitely needs to step up big time, or if he doesn't, I can honestly say that he'll be gone if he does not start bringing in some better talent or works with Tab Ramos. I think they definitely need to partner up, and if Matt Jordan does this, I think he'll definitely have a longer stint with the Dynamo. But if he does not, and him and Tab Ramos don't see things eye to eye, honestly, I would say Matt Jordan will be gone. But like I said, man, you got to make sure that Tab Ramos gets the guys that he wants, and so he can use to fit his style of play. And I think that's the best thing. Now, I do like that he's a midfielder, so it's definitely going to help fix the midfield specifically. But like I said, man, I'm really excited about the decision. And let's go ahead and finish things off with the comment of the day. So the comment of the day comes from Wesley Joyner, and the only reason why I didn't use Football or 503's comment was because, well, this video kind of answers the question that he had. But Wesley Joyner, he ends up saying, what type of improvements or renovations should be made to BBVA Stadium for Dynamo and Dash fans that would improve the fan experience and make them comfortable while watching the games? See, here's the thing with me. I think the Dynamo has done enough as they can with BBVA Stadium. Unfortunately, this is what happens with an outdoor stadium. It's just the weather is going to affect it, and the fact that Houston's primarily hot, it's just there's only so much you can do. Now, the Dynamo has established giant fans around the stadium and on the concourse as well. They have those misters to like try to keep fans cool. The only thing I would end up saying is maybe dropping the prices on water for fans to, you know, be able to buy water, because hydration will probably be the next best thing, or finding some way to insulate the seats, you know, kind of not make the seats so warm. Those are some ideas, but I think essentially you kind of know what you're getting yourself into with an outdoor stadium. Now, a lot of fans have used the fact that, you know, the weather is kind of rough with the Dynamo fans, but you got to remember at a time when the Dynamo used to play at Robertson Stadium, the weather was very rough, especially with the heat, and fans still showed up to the game. So I don't necessarily think that the level of comfort in the stadium is a big issue. I think a lot of fans just generally have problems with the quality of play from the Dynamo, and that's kind of been their reason why they haven't gone to games as of lately. But to make things comfortable for the Dynamo fans, it's honestly, it's really up to the weather, because the weather at this point is going to have control. So I mean, if the Dynamo want to try to push for more later type games, talk to the MLS with scheduling. But even though they don't really have much saying in the scheduling either, but like trying to get it when the sun's down so it's not as hot, or, you know, try to get games that are not when the sun's at its highest, you know, those are some things they can try to work with, or try to improve the quality of the seating, maybe have some seats that do not get affected by the heat, something like that. But I think in order to improve the quality of the stadium, I think they've done as much as they can as far as with the fans and the misters. And I think the next thing would just be trying to lower the prices overall on concessions, because I think it's pretty pricey, and it's like, yeah, the tickets are cheap, but you know, now I got pretty much, I'm with the money I'm making up from the ticket price, I'm getting in return by the value of the concessions. So I think that maybe lowering the price in water might help out, especially because it is an outdoor stadium. I understand that it gets hot, but I don't necessarily think that is a big factor as to why fans don't come to the games. Because like I said, going back to the whole Robertson Stadium days, that stadium was hot. I remember sitting in Robertson Stadium, and I just remember just dealing with it because I love being at the game. So I mean, there's nothing really much else to tell you about that. But yeah, so if you guys want to be featured for comment of the day, please make sure you put it in the comment on this video, because this is where I will go to for the next video when I do for the Dynamo. But with all that being said, man, I'm so happy that Ramos is the manager for the Houston Dynamo. Football 503. Like I said, man, this video is pretty much your answer to that question. And that's all I really got. So, chucking up a deuce. Y'all stay saucy.